I don't really care what you think. You can't sing. You have no talent. Get out.
You don't want to speak anymore?
No.
Okay. And now?
Oh, yes, I want.
We've all been guilty of making snap judgments, haven't we? That moment when someone walks onto a stage and before they even open their mouth, the world has already decided their fate.
Well, I came a couple of years ago and I got told to get a singing teacher. And
who told you that?
But what happens when those judgments get shattered in the most spectacular way? In this journey through talent show history, we're about to witness 10 performances that didn't just surprise the judges, they changed lives forever. These are the moments that left millions of viewers speechless, proving that the biggest stars often come in the most unexpected packages. Number 1. Susan Boyle. It was 2009 on Britain's Got Talent when Susan Boyle stepped onto the stage, a moment that would change talent shows forever. The 57-year-old walked out in her beige dress, her untamed hair, and simple appearance immediately drawing snickers from the crowd of 3,000 people. "I'm from a small village in Scotland," she said with a thick accent, causing even more giggles. When Simon asked about her dream, she confidently declared she wanted to be a professional singer like Elaine Paige. The judges exchanged knowing looks, thinking this would be another joke audition. Simon rolled his eyes while young audience members openly mocked her. Then came her confession. She lived alone with her cat Pebbles and had never been kissed. The crowd's laughter grew louder, but Susan stood there, completely unfazed. The music for I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables began playing. In that first note, 3,000 mouths shut at once. Her voice, pure and powerful, silenced every single person in that room. Piers Morgan's jaw dropped so far it nearly hit the desk. And Simon Cowell? That famous smirk melted into pure amazement. The very same audience who had laughed at her moments ago now rose to their feet, cheering and clapping wildly. "That was the biggest surprise I've had in 3 years of this show," Piers admitted, while Amanda could barely speak through her tears. The performance exploded online, hitting 10 million views in just 7 days, a massive number for 2009. Though she came second in the competition, Susan's first album, I Dreamed a Dream, smashed records, becoming Britain's fastest-selling debut album ever. She sold over 3 million copies in just 3 weeks. Today, she's released 8 successful albums and performed for the Queen. Not bad for the lady everyone laughed at, right? But wait until you see who's coming up next. Number 2. Jonathan Antoine. In 2012, a young high school student named Jonathan Antoine nervously shuffled onto the Britain's Got Talent stage with his singing partner, Charlotte Jaconelli. Jonathan, just 17 years old, was visibly uncomfortable in his baggy black clothing and unkempt hair. Simon Cowell immediately turned to the other judges, whispering, "Just when you think things couldn't get any worse." The pair revealed they'd been friends since their music teacher paired them at school. As they prepared to sing The Prayer by Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion, Simon suggested Charlotte might be holding Jonathan back, words he'd soon regret. The moment Jonathan opened his mouth, the entire audience gasped. Out came an operatic voice so powerful and mature that Simon's eyes widened in disbelief. His incredible classical tenor voice, worthy of any major opera house, filled the arena. Charlotte's harmonies complemented him beautifully, but all eyes were on the teenage boy who just shattered every preconception. By the end, all 4 judges were on their feet. Simon admitted, "Jonathan, you are unbelievable. I mean, seriously good." Amanda Holden declared him a future star, while Alicia Dixon praised his golden voice. The duo sailed through to the finals, ultimately finishing in second place. Their first album, Together, reached number 5 on the UK charts, and they went on to record a second album before amicably parting ways to pursue solo careers. Jonathan has since released 3 solo classical albums, performing at major venues across Europe. Today, he's recognized as one of Britain's leading young opera talents. Number 3. Michael Collings. Michael Collings walked onto the Britain's Got Talent stage in 2011 wearing a bright orange tracksuit that made the judges visibly wince. The 19-year-old IT engineer who lived in a caravan park and was about to become a father shuffled nervously with his guitar. "I didn't expect someone dressed like that to have such an amazing voice," Amanda Holden would later admit. When the first notes of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car began, nobody expected what came next. Michael's voice, soulful and raw, silenced every critic in the room. His guitar playing was equally impressive, showing years of dedication to his craft. The transformation was instant, from someone the audience might have written off to a performer commanding complete attention. The judges were stunned. David Hasselhoff praised his natural gift, while Michael McIntyre called it a perfect audition. Simon's usual skepticism melted away as he nodded in approval throughout the performance. The standing ovation seemed to overwhelm Michael, who'd been playing local pubs for spare change just weeks before. He progressed through to the semifinals, where his rendition of Trouble by Ray LaMontagne earned him even more praise. Though he didn't win the competition, his audition has been viewed over 20 million times, and he's since built a successful career as a musician, releasing original music and performing across the UK. Number 4. Ray Kelly. In 2018, a humble parish priest named Father Ray Kelly stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage. The 64-year-old from Oldcastle, Ireland, wore his simple clerical collar and told the judges he served in a small Catholic church. When Simon asked what brought him there, Father Ray simply smiled and said he wanted to share his gift. As the opening notes of REM's Everybody Hurts filled the auditorium, something extraordinary happened. Father Ray's voice, rich with emotion and technical perfection, delivered a version so moving that Amanda Holden was seen wiping away tears by the second verse. His Irish lilt added a unique texture to the song, while his natural vibrato showed years of hidden talent. The camera panned to audience members openly weeping, particularly during the powerful chorus where Father Ray hit notes that professional singers would envy. Simon Cowell, known for his harsh critiques, sat transfixed, his usual stern expression replaced with genuine awe. The performance earned him 4 enthusiastic yeses and a standing ovation from the entire audience. What made this audition even more remarkable was Father Ray's story. He'd gone viral 3 years earlier after singing Hallelujah at a wedding in his church, reaching over 70 million views online. On Britain's Got Talent, he made it through to the semifinals, where his rendition of Go Rest High on That Mountain earned him even more acclaim. Though he didn't win the competition, he released an album titled Where I Belong and continues to serve his parish while performing concerts across Ireland. Number 5. Andrea Faustini. Andrea Faustini came onto the X Factor UK stage in 2014, looking nothing like a typical soul singer. The 20-year-old Italian student arrived wearing a pug shirt, carrying a pug doll, and openly professing his obsession with the dog breed. His thick Italian accent and quirky demeanor had the judges struggling to keep straight faces. When asked about his song choice, Andrea announced he'd be performing Who's Loving You by Jackson 5. Sharon Osbourne visibly rolled her eyes, but the moment Andrea opened his mouth, everything changed. Out came a voice that Mel B would later describe as pure soul. His powerful vocals, hitting notes that even professional soul singers struggle with, left the judges slack-jawed. The control in his voice, the runs, and the emotional delivery were all flawless. Simon Cowell, who'd been checking his phone moments before, suddenly sat up straight and stared in disbelief. The audience, who'd been giggling at his pug obsession, were now on their feet cheering. Andrea's journey on the show was remarkable. He consistently delivered knockout performances week after week, making it all the way to the finals. Though he finished third, his renditions of classic soul songs like Earth Song and I Am Telling You became some of the most viewed X Factor performances online. His semi-final performance of The Power of Love hit number 7 on the UK iTunes chart. Number 6. Robbie Hance. When Robbie Hance shuffled onto the X Factor stage in 2012, no one could have guessed the depth of his story or the power of his voice. The 26-year-old arrived wearing a well-worn hoodie and carrying a battered guitar case that had clearly seen better days. When Tulisa asked about his background, Robbie's quiet response stunned the auditorium into silence. He'd been homeless for 6 years, sleeping on friends' sofas or riding night buses when he had nowhere else to go. The judge's expressions shifted from mild interest to deep concern as he explained how he'd bounced between friends' houses, never staying more than a few days to avoid being a burden. His only constant companion was his guitar, which he'd managed to keep through all his struggles. The atmosphere in the room grew even more intense when Robbie revealed he'd be performing an acoustic version of Coconut Skins by Damien Rice. Lewis Walsh seemed skeptical of the song choice, while Gary Barlow leaned forward, intrigued by the ambitious selection. As Robbie began to tune his guitar, his hands were visibly shaking, but the moment he struck the first chord, everything changed. His voice, raw and filled with emotion, carried years of hardship and resilience in every note. The control in his vocals was remarkable. Each word delivered with a haunting authenticity that only comes from lived experience. The technical difficulty of the song was considerable, yet Robbie navigated the complex melody with natural ease. When the final note faded, there was a moment of complete silence before the audience erupted into one of the loudest ovations of the season. Gary Barlow, known for his measured responses, called it one of the most honest auditions he'd ever seen. Nicole praised not just his voice, but the way he connected with the lyrics, while Tulisa admitted she'd completely misjudged him based on his appearance. Lewis Walsh, who'd been skeptical at first, now predicted he could win the entire competition. During a group performance at boot camp, Robbie disappeared just hours before he was due to perform. The cameras captured his group members searching for him frantically, but he was nowhere to be found. When he finally reappeared, he gave an emotional interview explaining how the pressure had overwhelmed him. He'd never performed in front of such large crowds before, and the sudden attention was more than he could handle. Despite the judge's understanding and willingness to give him another chance, Robbie ultimately left the competition, leaving behind one of the most memorable auditions in X Factor history. Today, while Robbie keeps a low profile, his audition is still frequently cited as one of the most powerful examples of raw talent in reality TV history. His brief appearance on X Factor served as a poignant reminder to never judge someone based on their circumstances, and that sometimes the most beautiful music comes from the deepest struggles. Number 7. Craig Colton. In 2011, 22-year-old Craig Colton walked onto the X Factor stage wearing his Tesco Bakery uniform, having come straight from his night shift. His father had secretly submitted his application, and Craig was still so nervous that he could barely make eye contact with the judges. When Gary Barlow asked what he did for a living, Craig's quiet reply of, "I work in a biscuit factory," drew a few snickers from the audience. His parents, watching anxiously from the side, had never even heard him sing properly before. The tension in the room was palpable as Craig announced he'd be singing "Hiding All My Life" by Adele. Lewis Walsh was seen whispering to Tulisa, clearly expecting another forgettable audition. But from the very first note, Craig revealed a soulful, rich tone that had Gary Barlow sitting up straight in his chair. His voice, tinged with a natural Liverpudlian rawness, brought a unique quality to the song that even Adele herself would have appreciated. The control in his vibrato and the emotional depth in his delivery showed years of hidden talent. By the chorus, Kelly Rowland was moving to the music, completely caught up in his performance. The same audience members who'd been skeptical moments before were now swaying with their phones lit up. His parents, watching from backstage, broke down in tears as their son commanded the arena like a seasoned professional. Kelly Rowland praised his natural soul, while Lewis Walsh predicted he could win the whole competition. Tulisa admitted she'd completely misjudged him based on his appearance. Craig's journey through the show was remarkable. He lost over 2 stone during the competition, gained massive confidence, and delivered standout performances week after week. His rendition of "Set Fire to the Rain" in Week 3 earned a standing ovation from all 4 judges. Though he was eliminated in Week 8, placing 5th overall, his career was far from over. He went on to tour with X Factor, released several singles, and completely transformed not just his appearance, but his entire life, leaving the biscuit factory far behind. Number 8. Patty and her dance partner Nico. When 79-year-old Patty and her dance partner Nico stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage in 2014, the audience didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Patty, dressed in a flowing dance costume, explained she'd been dancing since her teens, but had lost her previous partner to cancer. She'd found Nico, 40 years her junior, through an advertisement, and they'd been practicing in secret. Simon Cowell looked skeptical, David Walliams seemed amused, and Amanda Holden appeared concerned for Patty's safety. As the opening notes of Singin' in the Rain began, worry turned to amazement. Patty and Nico launched into a routine that professional dancers half their age would struggle to execute. The lifts were flawless, Patty being hoisted into the air with the grace of a ballerina. Their footwork was perfectly synchronized and their spins were dizzying. At one point, Nico flipped Patty completely over his head, causing Amanda to gasp and cover her eyes. But Patty landed perfectly, beaming with joy. The routine included acrobatic moves that seemed impossible for someone approaching 80. Splits, high kicks, and complex twirls that had the audience on the edge of their seats. Simon's trademark smirk had transformed into open-mouthed astonishment. David Walliams was seen mouthing "unbelievable" to Amanda. When they finished, the entire audience leapt to their feet. Alicia Dixon, a trained dancer herself, called it the most inspirational performance she'd ever seen. Simon admitted he'd completely misjudged them, calling Patty an amazing example of how you're never too old to chase your dreams. The duo made it to the semifinals, where their even more ambitious routine earned them a place in the nation's heart. Though they didn't win, their audition has been viewed over 30 million times online, and Patty became a symbol of ageless vitality, appearing on numerous TV shows and inspiring dance classes for seniors across the UK. She and Nico continue to perform, proving that age really is just a number. Number 9. Kyle Tomlinson's. Kyle Tomlinson's journey on Britain's Got Talent wasn't just an audition, it was a comeback story that left everyone speechless. In 2017, the 15-year-old from Sheffield returned to the stage after being rejected 3 years earlier by David Walliams, who had told him to get singing lessons. His first appearance had been a crushing disappointment, but Kyle's family scraped together money for 3 years of vocal coaching, despite their limited means. When he walked out on stage for his second chance wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, the nervous energy was visible. Kyle's hands were shaking as he told the judges about his previous rejection. David Walliams visibly squirmed in his seat, clearly remembering his harsh words from years ago. The teenager revealed he'd chosen to sing Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. As the music began, Kyle closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and transformed before everyone's eyes. His voice, now trained and powerful, filled every corner of the auditorium with a richness that seemed impossible from such a young performer. The control in his vocals, the emotional depth, and the sheer power left the audience stunned. Amanda Holden's jaw dropped during the first verse, while Alicia Dixon was seen wiping away tears. Simon Cowell, who had been checking his phone moments before, now sat transfixed. But it was David Walliams who had the most dramatic reaction. By the final chorus, he was visibly emotional, knowing his previous criticism had pushed this young man to achieve something extraordinary. As Kyle hit the final note, something unprecedented happened. David Walliams leapt from his seat and slammed the golden buzzer, sending Kyle straight through to the live semifinals. Gold confetti rained down as Kyle broke down in tears, his parents rushing onto stage to embrace him. "I'm so glad you came back and proved me wrong," David announced, his voice cracking with emotion. Alicia called it a perfect audition, while Simon praised his sensational voice. Kyle's journey through the competition continued to inspire. He reached the finals with powerful performances of Wings and Rise Like a Phoenix. Though he didn't win, his story of perseverance and improvement became one of the most talked about moments of the season. The boy who had been told he wasn't good enough had proved everyone wrong, going on to perform across the UK and inspire other young singers never to give up. Number 10. Danny Beard. And finally, when Danny Beard sashayed onto the Britain's Got Talent stage in 2016, the atmosphere in the room instantly changed. The 23-year-old drag queen from Liverpool was a vision in white, with a face painted stark white, covered in glitter, and sporting a full beard. The judges exchanged confused glances. Alicia Dixon's eyebrows shot up. Amanda Holden leaned forward in curiosity, and Simon Cowell wore his trademark skeptical expression. Danny's confidence was evident as he bantered with the judges. But when asked about the song choice, the revelation of Sweet Transvestite from Rocky Horror Picture Show had Simon rolling his eyes. The backing track began, and Danny launched into a performance that would redefine what Britain's Got Talent audiences thought was possible. The voice that emerged was not just powerful, it was thunderous, theatrical, and technically perfect. Danny seamlessly switched between deep, rich bass notes and soaring high registers that professional singers would envy. The performance wasn't just about the voice, it was a complete spectacle. Danny commanded the stage like a veteran performer, hitting every dramatic pause and gesture with precision. The audience, who had been unsure how to react at first, were now on their feet clapping along. Simon Cowell's skepticism melted away note by note, replaced by genuine amazement. Amanda Holden was seen mouthing "wow" to Alicia, while David Walliams was grinning from ear to ear. When the final note hit, the standing ovation was immediate and unanimous. "I wasn't expecting that voice to come out of that face," Simon admitted, while Amanda praised the incredible range and control. Alicia called it the perfect audition, highlighting how Danny had managed to be both entertaining and vocally outstanding. David Walliams declared it the best drag act we've ever had on the show. Danny's journey through the competition continued to surprise and delight. Each performance pushed boundaries and challenged preconceptions. Though eliminated in the semifinals, the impact was lasting. The audition went viral, gaining over 15 million views online, and Danny became a symbol of artistic freedom and self-expression. Today, Danny headlines shows across the UK, has appeared in West End productions, and continues to break down barriers in the entertainment industry. The bearded drag queen with the powerhouse voice had proved that true talent transcends all expectations. And there you have it. 10 incredible performances that prove talent comes in all shapes, sizes, and stories. From Susan Boyle's life-changing moment to Robbie Hance's raw emotion, each of these artists taught us something powerful. Never let appearances cloud your judgment of someone's potential. Which of these amazing performances touched your heart the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you believe in the power of second chances, hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you in the next video.